Alleluia, 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 The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus' father and mother were amazed at what was said about him. And Simeon blessed them and said to Mary, his mother, "Behold, this child is destined for the fall and rise of many in Israel, and to be a sign that will be contradicted. And you yourself, the sword will pierce, so that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed." The Gospel of the Lord. In 1976, Pope Paul VI was having his annual retreat with the Roman Curia, and they invited a cardinal from Poland named Cardinal Wojtyła. Later on became Pope John Paul II, and they invited him to preach the retreat. And his lectures or talks or reflections that he gave at the retreat, they've been published, and it is called A Sign of Contradiction. A Sign of Contradiction. And so I was reminded of that this morning as I heard this gospel, that Mary, when Jesus was born and presented in the temple, she was told that he would be a sign of contradiction. It's kind of a mysterious phrase, what exactly it means. Christ would be a sign of contradiction because he would bring the good news. But the good news was not received as good news to all. And there were many who opposed his message and his kingdom. And this is a mystery that repeats itself throughout history. That there is evil in the world, there is the devil, there are demons, right? There's always a spiritual war taking place. And so it's almost as if the more the light shines, the more resentful the darkness becomes. And as Christians, right, we say that we are believers in the virtue of hope. And hope does not mean that we are optimists. It means that even in the midst of the darkness, the suffering, and the sorrows, we still have hope. We don't let the darkness overcome us, or at least that's what we strive to do. And one of the reasons why Pope John Paul II preached about this at this retreat was it was a reminder, especially to the Pope and to the cardinals living in Rome, that the church still is a sign of contradiction in the world. And sometimes we forget about this. This is one of the issues with the health and wealth gospel, or the softening of the gospel message that we see so often on TV and on the internet. Not only was Christ a sign of contradiction, but so is the church. And that's why the church always undergoes different forms of persecution. Thus it will be until the end of the age. And that here in our country, we don't seem to experience it as much. We've gotten a little taste of it in the recent weeks. But as Pope John Paul II knew, there literally are Christians all throughout the world who are putting their lives on the line and being imprisoned. Pope John Paul II had lived under the Nazi regime, then under the communist regime. He had seen so many of his classmates in the seminary, so many of his fellow priests in Poland, right, be brutally murdered. And yet he was still a man of hope. So just as it was with Christ, so it is with the church. It will remain a sign of contradiction. And one of the ways that we have hope is looking to Mary, the woman of sorrows. The woman of sorrows who never lost hope, never became overcome by the darkness. And that's a lesson we can all learn from today on this feast.